So let's talk about the image of God, the images of the image of God. As we have established in our previous sessions, that God's intention is to manifest himself into the physical realms, to manifest his nature, his character, his will, his desires, his creativities, his ideas, to manifest them into the physical realm. And he did that by creation. So now Genesis from verse 3 to 25, we find that God is making the environment habitable for man, habitable for his image. So in Genesis chapter 1, 26 says, then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, in our image. So the word image is selem, which means a representative figure. And according to our likeness, it's demut, figure, resemble, which means resembling, and plural. It has a connotation of plurality and as one corporate man. So human beings together, all of them as one corporate man. That's the connotation of demut. And Selem is singular, like man as an individual, Adam as the image of God. So Selem, this word is derived from the parent root meaning a shadow. Selem is the outline or a shape of a shadow. Now, here is what I want us to understand. Selem, the image, an image is the representative figure. So God created man to be what? His image, to be his representative figure, to be his representative figure on earth. That means man, Adam, the creation of man is the manifestation of God in the physical realm. I want that to sink in you. Man is the manifestation of God in the physical realm. Man is the manifestation of God in the physical realm. So, and this is so profound. If we can just get this, it will really transform our lives. So man is the manifestation of God in the physical realm. So this, when we talk of the parent, also the demut, it has a connotation, a parent of bloodline, like it's blood, relation by blood. So it has a connotation of corporately everyone assembles, everyone often resembles one descendant from. So one from where one descends, that's demut. So we are resembling God, and we descend from God. So means a resemblance or to be like something else in action or appearance. So we are like God in action and appearance. It talks of functionality. It talks of functionality. So we are the image. The image talks of the nature and the character, and demut talks of the functionality. So God created man to be his image, to reflect his character, his nature, and also to function like him. To function like him. So the image of God is God manifested into the flesh, God manifested into the physical realm. That is God's intention. That is God's intention for creating man. That is his intention. And once this sinks in you, it changes everything. So Genesis 1 then goes, like we have said, God said, let us make man in our own image and according to our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. One thing we need to understand about this verse is that in this verse, God's primary purpose for creating mankind is revealed, which is to represent God to the creation and deputize God's work on earth. So the primary purpose of man, God creating man, is that man should represent God and deputize God, should represent God to the creation, to the trees, to the animals. They don't know their creator. Man is supposed to represent God to the creation and deputize his work, deputize God's work on earth. ruling over, being in charge over everything that God created. He said, let them have what? Dominion. So you were created to represent God. This was and is still God's original plan for mankind, which is representing Him and manifesting His nature and character. His nature and character. We were created to be God's representative figures on earth. That is the primary purpose of man. That is the primary purpose. That is the primary purpose of man. Sorry for that. So here is something I want us to understand whenever we are talking about the primary purpose of man. So every individual, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, you were created, you exist right here on earth to represent God on earth. And how do you do that? You do that, you represent God in the field which God has ordained you. He has ordained you, and you are supposed to have dominion in that field. So whichever field God has called you into, you are supposed to demonstrate His character and resembles how He functions, His character, His nature and creativity, and resemble how and even his functionality, the way he functions. You're supposed to represent that in whichever field, whether you are a business person, whether you are a lawyer, you are a medical doctor, whichever field you are in, you're supposed to represent that and have dominion in that field. That is your purpose. That is how you discover that is your purpose. So the primary purpose of man, the reason why God created man, is to represent God to the creation. Adam was the image of God on earth. Adam was the image of God on earth. So God, have you seen how the plan, the intention of God is unfolding? God created the heavens and the earth through creation. That's how God wants to manifest himself. And God creates man to be his image, to be his representative figure in the physical realm, in the earth. So the primary purpose of man is to represent God to the creation. And you're supposed to have dominion, to rule over, to govern everything that God has created. And lastly, on this one thing we need to realize about the earth is more like the clone of heaven. Just as God reigns in heaven, man is supposed to also do the same on earth. So you are deputizing the work of God in heaven, what is happening in heaven, to bring it on earth. The goal is to manifest what is in heaven, to manifest on earth. That's why even Jesus, when he's teaching the disciples to pray, he says, pray in this manner: our Father who is in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So the earth, what is in heaven, should manifest on earth. That's the intention. That's the intention. The realities, heavenly realities, to manifest in the earth. And that is our purpose, even as human beings, to manifest heaven's reality on earth. Heaven's reality on earth. So this is God's intention. The image of God. Man is God manifested into flesh. Man was created to be the image of God. That's how God intended to manifest himself in the earth. That was the plan, and that was the original intention. And we want to explore how all this unfolds and where we are going. So thank you. Let's get into the next one.